One of the hallmarks of crisis is there's always a certain amount of chaos. Information is changing, it sometimes is contradictory, it's coming at you faster than you can imagine. COVID-19 is a perfect example of this. We're all being swarmed with information day in and day out. We can't quite figure out what's going on. As a leader, the charge for you is creating order out of that chaos so people can come together and work well. I'm Eric McNulty, Associate Director of the National Preparedness Leadership Initiative at Harvard. And I want to talk to you today about a tool that will help you create that order amidst chaos, and we call it the pop-doc loop. It starts with the work of John Boyd, who created an OODA loop, which many people know. It's used to train fighter pilots around the world, called Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. We created a tool building on this, designed specifically for the challenges that leaders face in a complex, fast-moving environment. We build the pop-doc loop around a figure-8 Mobius loop. It's a figure-8 because that's the symbol of infinity. You don't just go around the pop-doc loop once. You're going to go over it many, many times over the course of an incident. The steps around that pop-doc loop, there are 6 of them, they're linear, and they're distinct cognitive processes. So what we did was look at how are things being processed by your brain when you're doing it really well, when everything's in sync, when you're making good decisions, you're taking appropriate actions. How is your brain working at its best? Then we mapped out those processes and put them into this loop to help you as a leader create a disciplined process for driving to the known, for always discovering more about what's going on, better understanding the situation, and therefore knowing what to do about it. The first step is perceive. You have to open your aperture wide, bring in information, bring in data from lots of sources. It's like taking a jigsaw puzzle and putting all the pieces on the table. Gather as much as you can, because in our crisis, our natural tendency is for our view to narrow. We look for the threat right in front of us. It's a basic human instinct. You've got to intentionally step back and say, what's the bigger picture here? What's the meta view? So you want to perceive. Once you perceive, you begin to look for patterns. This is orient, the O in pop. You look for patterns. We're natural pattern seekers as human beings. You will see things emerge. Some parts of that puzzle will be more significant, others will be less significant, less relevant. You always want to test your patterns, but look for those patterns. The important thing is that patterns repeat. Because once the pattern begins to repeat, you can then predict what's likely to happen next. This is an incredibly important step because as a leader, you want to stay one step ahead of the evolving situation. You want to have in your mind what's likely to happen next. So look at that pattern, see what might repeat, and begin to understand what's going to happen next. Assign some probability to that if you can. So of the predictions you make, you know which are most likely, which are less likely to happen. This is the pop side of the pop-doc loop. It's the thinking and analysis side. Now you traverse to the other side of that figure-8. You begin to take action. So the D in doc is for decisions. With your predictions, you can now tee up decisions you're going to have to make. You and your team, you can say, if we think this is going to happen, what do we have to deploy? Who needs to be in what position? How do we need to connect with other entities? You begin to make decisions. That gets you into movement, gets you into action. Now, of course, decisions alone don't solve things. You then have to operationalize those decisions. A very distinct process. Now ask yourself, we've made the decisions, for example, to commit 40,000 ventilators to distribution across the country. To operationalize it, you have to ask yourself, well, where are the 40,000 ventilators going to come from? How are we going to ship them? Who's going to get how many? How are we going to distribute them? There are a whole series of tactical questions you have to answer. And if you make a decision without thinking through how you're going to operationalize it, you're likely to have made empty promises. You'll make a decision, you won't be able to carry it out. So be thinking about how you're going to operationalize it. What's it going to take to complete that decision and turn it into tangible action that benefits communities? And the C is for communicate. One of the things we always see as a shortfall in crisis response is under communication. Sometimes that's public communication through the media, sometimes it's internal within the response enterprise. But the more people who know what you're doing, why you're doing it, it's trusted, transparent communication, the better able they'll be to see how their piece fits into the larger whole, how they can help you carry out your intentions. And then once you've communicated, you traverse back. You go back and reperceive. Have the actions we've taken changed things on the ground? Have they changed them in ways we predicted they would? If yes, you can do more and go to your next step. If not, you have to reassess, re-strategize, and think, what did we miss? What could we be doing differently? And then you go around the pop doc loop again. So that left side, the pop side, that contains the two dimensions of our meta leadership model known as the person and the situation. Who you are, your thinking, the situation, understanding what's happening and what needs to be done about it. And that doc side, that's connectivity. How are you connecting down to your team? And are they working well? Up to your boss so he or she can make great decisions? And then across and beyond to other stakeholders. So your actions are well coordinated, they're synchronous, you're moving together and not in conflict. So that left side of PopDoc, those are the thinking steps. Really important to do that analysis. But you don't want to get stuck. You don't want paralysis by analysis. You've got to move to the right side, doc. Those are the action steps. That ensures that analysis turns into tangible progress on the ground. As a leader going through a complex event, you've got to have discipline. The good thing about PopDoc is it gives you a simple, straightforward, disciplined process you can use yourself, or you can use it with your team as a way to structure your meetings and the process you go through every single day. So PopDoc, it's a tool to keep you disciplined, driving toward the known, driving order beyond control, even in the most complex situation.